about time they're finally taking a closer look. I don't know who they is. I don't know if they are, but at least Fauci is exposed. There's been at least one whistleblower that came out about what his vaccine plans have been all along, which to me are quite obvious. That's everything he does is to scare us into a vaccine. I mean, it's none of the other countries tried to make things look worse than they were. Why do you think that would be? What other reason could they have to make it try and make it look scarier and more deadly than it is? The disclaimer, I'm not saying that it's not deadly or horrible. It is, but its actual death rate is akin to the flu, which means that all this lockdown shit should have never ever happened. It was all based on a lie, and we're still locked down. So it wasn't just about this virus. In the spirit of never letting a good crisis go to waste, I wanted to talk about, but didn't follow through, I wanted to talk about what points the people who wanted to stay in and those who wanted to not stay in, I'll put it that way, the arguments that each side of that have. Well, I'm on the side of the freedom and liberties side of that. And what I wanted to know from anybody who's on the stay-at-home side of that is, I'm curious where the line is drawn for them personally. Like, where's the line? Like, what line has to be crossed by in your what line in your civil liberties must be crossed before you find it to be unacceptable? I'm curious about that, because I find that they cross my line pretty far back, and it surprises me that there's not more people up in arms about things. And I'm just really genuinely curious about where people's lines are. You know, at what level do you say, okay, now the government is encroaching on my freedoms? Unnecessarily, I should say. Well, there's a rabbit hole. Anyway, give it some thought. I'd like to know if anybody has any comments about it. That would be cool. I appreciate it. Take care. Is it just me, or is what people are talking about, say, online or in person, completely different than what people are talking about on the news? I know that's not much of a shocker, but it seems like, it really seems that way. It really seems like there's no connection between what people are talking about and what the news is saying are completely separated. Because people are talking about Fauci and Bill Gates and stuff on the news. Mum's the word unless they have some piece to glorify Bill Gates or Fauci. But critical of them? Nope, not at all. Short of saying that the president blocked testimony from Fauci, that's about as critical as they get, and that's not specific about Fauci. So there's a lot of political shenanigans in places where they should not be. The news, about half of the country or more believes the news over their brother man, you know, over their fellow man. We'll believe the anchor before we'll believe the person that we know and love. That's the problem with television, because we believe it no matter what, even after it proves time and time again to be less than honest. You know, it's I think everybody should have to spend a little bit of time, not have to, but should spend a little bit of time at a TV station behind the scenes just to see how it works. It'll destroy On some levels, it'll destroy television for you for the rest of your life, as you realize that it's not what you thought it was. But that's not so bad, is it? I don't know. Anyways, take it easy. I don't know exactly how bad he said it would be in order to get the approval to shut things down and lock people up, which has never ever been done before. It's totally, they have no data to suggest that that would be helpful, no studies, no nothing, just a blanket, okay, everybody stay in their home. It's never ever happened before, and they don't know what that will do to families to lock them up for months. You know, what kind of damage are you really doing? Because, for example, something like 85,000 people every year die from Tylenol or from acetaminophen. About 85,000 a year. Well, that's, if it's not more than coronavirus, it's close. It's close. So that's the kind of numbers we're looking at, like the amount of people who die from acetaminophen, which is almost freakish. But in the scope of 327 million people, that's not very many deaths. God, I hate being technical about it because it's so rude. It seems disrespectful to downplay it, because we got really attached to it being far worse. You know, like we got used to it being the plague, so it's almost a disappointment or something that it's not, for lack of better words. People know what I'm talking about. There's something kind of warped about it. We don't want to let go of the fact that it's really, really hardcore. We want it to stay hardcore. So anybody who tells the news of it not being so hardcore, they're just chastised. That's really interesting. No, mine was hardcore than yours. Yeah. That's funny. Anyway.
Don't hold anyone